kill Ukrainians in their homes, destroy their infrastructure, and break their will. This operation deals another blow to Putin, and we are clear with Russia about our intentions and our basis to act. We do not seek escalation, but we will always take the necessary steps to enforce UK sanctions. The UK has sanctioned over 550 Russian Shadow Fleet vessels. This has had a material impact. Nearly 200 have been forced to anchor because of the action of the UK and our partners. And yesterday's operation sends a clear signal to Russia that the UK and its allies can and will act against the Russian war machine.
Russian Shadow Fleet, and I call the Secretary of State Dan Jarvis.
With your permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I want to update the House on UK operational activity against the Russian Shadow Fleet. Before I begin, I would like to take the opportunity to pay tribute to my right honourable friend, the member for Rawmarsh and Conisbrough, who led the department through a period of growing instability with a clarity of purpose and a sure judgment. I thank him sincerely for all that he did as the Secretary of State. He leaves office safe in the knowledge that our armed forces are better prepared and better supported than when he assumed it. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, this is my first appearance in the House since my appointment as the Secretary of State for Defence. It is a privilege and a responsibility beyond all measure, not least because this is a moment of challenge for our nation, and it is my job to make sure that we rise to meet that moment. Now, it's been some time since I left the armed forces. The tactics, technology and threats have all changed beyond recognition. The one thing, however, that has remained constant is the professionalism, courage and extraordinary skill of our servicemen and women. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, these virtues were exemplified in full yesterday in the English Channel. In the early hours of the morning, 25 miles south, off the Isle of Wight, Royal Marine Commandos fast-roped under the cover of darkness onto the deck of the Smertos, a 244-metre-long oil tanker, which at the time of interception was travelling at 10 knots. Within a matter of minutes, our Marines had seized control of the vessel without resistance. They worked closely in this operation with specialist officers from the National Crime Agency and were supported by aircraft from the Maritime Air Group, including Chinooks, Merlin Mk4 and Wildcat helicopters, and RAF P8 and Type 23 frigate HMS Sutherland and Minehunter HMS Ledbury. I also want to take the opportunity to recognise the vital contribution of the Home Office's Border Security Command maritime teams. This was a highly complex operation executed with remarkable precision. Lasting 6 hours, this Royal Navy-led interdiction was the first of its kind for UK forces and the result of careful and meticulous planning across multiple government departments and agencies. All military and law enforcement personnel are safely accounted for. And I know that the whole House will join me in paying deepest respect and sincere thanks to the hundreds of people who were involved. Now, the vessel is now secured outside of port limits at Weymouth Anchorage. A 38-year-old Indian national has been arrested on suspicion of suspected sanctions offences. All other 24 crew members remain on board and are assisting the NCA. This is a live criminal investigation and further updates will be provided at the appropriate moment. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, in the days leading up to this interdiction, UK armed forces, supported by our allies, including France, to whom I am very grateful, closely tracked and monitored the vessel on the grounds it was suspected of using a false flag. This was a vessel sanctioned by the UK, sailing without nationality, transporting sanctioned Russian oil. And I can confirm to the House that this operation was conducted in accordance with international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea and the relevant domestic legislation. Yesterday's operation follows the support that the UK has provided the US and France in the interdiction of several Shadow Fleet ships this year. And in March, my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, made clear our intention to interdict shadow fleet vessels at a time and place of our choosing. This had a clear deterrent effect, with many vessels taking longer and more costly routes to evade action taken by the UK and our allies. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me expand on why this operation matters. We know who benefits from the shadow fleet. Over 700 vessels are used to move around 40% of Russian oil. And we know who suffers from the shadow fleet. Sanctioned oil is bankrolling Putin's brutal war in Ukraine. Every barrel sold helps fund the missiles and drones used to kill Ukrainians in their homes, destroy their infrastructure, and break their will. This operation deals another blow to Putin, and we are clear with Russia about our intentions and our basis to act. We do not seek escalation, but we will always take the necessary steps to enforce UK sanctions. The UK has sanctioned over 550 Russian shadow fleet vessels. This has had a material impact. Nearly 200 have been forced to anchor because of the action of the UK and our partners. And yesterday's operation sends a clear signal to Russia that the UK and its allies can and will act against the Russian war machine. We will use every measure available to prevent the trade in sanctioned goods which funds Putin's illegal war. Now, yesterday's operation demonstrates that the UK's commitment to securing a just and lasting peace for Ukraine is absolute. I know that President Zelensky thanked the UK following the interdiction, yet we should remember that it is us who owe the Ukrainian people. They've now resisted Putin's full-scale invasion for more than 4 years and suffered under the pain of occupation for more than 12. And still they fight. For their security and for ours. For their values and for ours. Now, yesterday, I spoke to the Ukrainian Defence Minister to ensure him that whilst there has been a change in leadership in UK defence, there has been no change in our position. The UK will stand with Ukraine for as long as it takes. And on Thursday, I will be at the NATO headquarters to co-chair the next meeting of the Ukraine Defence Contact Group and secure the arms and ammunition Ukraine's forces need to fight Putin's war machine. Madam Deputy Speaker, let me end by saying something that I have always believed, and that is that the defence of our nation is a shared endeavour. It falls to those of us who step forward to protect the country in and out of uniform, and we owe a debt of gratitude to all those people who exposed themselves to risk yesterday, to those who will do so tonight, tomorrow, and in the future. I have a responsibility now to them to make sure that they get what they need, and I am determined to fulfil those duties. I commend this statement to the House.
Shadow Secretary of State, James Cartlidge.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. And can I thank the Defence Secretary for the advance side of his statement and begin by welcoming him to his